We can see you, ma'am.
Yeah, you can see my screen, no? Yeah. Can you all see my screen? Can I continue?
Not yet. Can you share the screen, please? Did you get the option, ma'am? Yeah, yes, we are getting it now. Yeah.
Pranayama. Actually, you should prana plus ayama. Pranayama can be divided into prana plus ayama. Prana means vital unity, ayama means extension, regulation, and you can mean it, many meaning, and control also. There is a difference between Patanjali and Swatmarama Suri. Patanjali has given, as he said, Dasmin Sati Swasa Praswasa Kati Vicheda Pranayama. The flow of breathing, he has given too much importance for the flow of breathing, but Swatmarama has given importance for retaining the breath. And the Patanjali, even Hatyoka, even in sutras, he has given one more suggestion to overcome the obstacles. We have to do the breathing consciously, and we should give too much more importance for the exhalation phase, retention and exhalation phase. Then also he has given to he explained the flow of breathing also, the inhalation, exhalation, also retention also. But Swatmarama has given more importance for retaining the breath. According to Swatmarama, without Kumbhaga, breathing is not considered as pranayama. All the pranayamas except Bastrika, all the pranayamas, Kumbhagas are important. According to Hatyoka Pratipika. Even rest of even other Gyanan Samhita, after Swatmarama, so those who follow Swatmarama, they also named it as Kumbhaka only. Okay. But Patanjali did not mention the names of Reshaka, Puraka and Kumbhaka. Reshaka, Puraka, Kumbhaka introduced, the names are introduced by Swatmarama, but Patanjali mentioned has Stambha Vritti, Abhyantra Vritti, like that only. Vritti, modifications. he named it as modifications. Vritti, Stamba Vritti, Apyantara Vritti, Pranayama. So Stamba means stopping, Apyantara Bahya. Yeah, I'm unable to remember the exact sutra. Stamba Vritti, Bahya Vritti, and Apyantara Vritti. And the fourth stage without any vrittis. Without vrittis, it should happen automatically, the blocking. So as per Patanjali, as per Swatma Rama Kumbhakas, retaining the breath. So when you're retaining the breath, what happens? See, it's due to the limited duration. Actually, we have to see the pranayamas, traditional pranayamas one by one, and we should see the physiological changes one by one in each and every pranayama. If we find time, we can take. So that's what we should take it from. Not we should not take the complete yoga. We should take it as a one. Specifically, we should deal with asanas. Specifically, we should deal with pranayamas. We should specifically we should deal with bandhas and mudras. Even specifically, we should deal with kriyas. And actually, we are giving. I can give you only little limited information about pranayamas. So antar kumbhaka. When you do antar kumbhaka, which means when you are holding the breath after the inhalation phase, what happens? Intrapulmonic pressure increased. So it connects. When you holding the breath, what happens? Intrapulmonic pressure increase. So it connects, it automatically affects your heart. So not affects, it also connection with the heart. Clear? So Bahya Kumbhaka, intrapulmonic pressure decreased. Kevala Kumbhaka, intrapulmonic pressure equal to the atmosphere. Say Antar Kumbhaka, Bahya Kumbhaka, both are Sakita Kumbhaka. Sakita Kumbhaka and Kevala Kumbhaka. Sakita Kumbhaka means doing with inhalation, doing with exhalation. Here Kevala Kumbhaka without inhalation and exhalation. You will not do any purposefully inhalation and exhalation, but holding the breath. Intentionally should not do any inhalation and exhalation, just holding the breath. That is intrapulmonic pressure equal to the atmosphere when you're holding the breath. So these all connected with your heart region. Also, physiologically, it connects with your heart region, and psychologically, it also connects with your mind. Also, mind connects. Breathe is the bridge between your body and mind. When you're because of the disturbance of your vyadi, your breathing, swash prashwasa happens, no erect breathing happens, no, that can be controlled by practicing pranayama. Is it not? Swash prashwasa. By practicing pranayama, you can re-establish. So supramedullary, subcortical and cortical center regulates the respiration. So when you are doing pranayama with the tension, automatically what happens? What happens? Your brain centers also regulated. So this again the concept here. The concept is whatever psychophysiological. Again, you cannot separate your body and mind. Psychophysiological coordination happens, and you can regain. So we can give many benefits, but limited time. I'm not elaborating this. So we have to elaborate. We have to see specifically when we do, for example, when you do Ujjayi Pranayama, what you are getting pressure on your throat region again. You get friction. You are contracting your glottis. What happens when you contract your glottis? Again, the pressure falls on your heart. And at the same time, if you are doing the Nadi Shuddhi, alternate breathing, again, it deals with your mind as well as your body temperature also regulated when you do Nadi Shuddhi. In Surya Bedi, you can energize as well as you can increase your temperature. So same thing, Chandra Bedi also. So we have to see specifically due to limited hours, limited timing. I'm giving the very important. So what happens when you do Antar Kumbhaka? What happens when you do Bahya Kumbhaka? What happens when you do Kevala Kumbhaka? Normally the other benefits and all, you know, I hope. So pranayama normally it enhances our oxygenation intake. So this supramedullary, subcortical, and cortical centers regulates our respiration. This concepts. So we need time to see elaborately. And next we'll go for kriyas. Is a purificatory process. So poisonous substances are removed. So because due to stagnation only we get, due to toxins only we get disease, right? We get disease due to toxins accumulation of our joint cells as well as in our kidney. If you take kidney, what happens? The formations of stone happens due to stagnation. So if you eliminate regularly, means you can avoid this as toxic. So efficient is not only for the body, it also deals with your mind. So for example, you can consider the Trataka. You take the Trataka. Trataka is a proprietary practice of meditation also. You should take it as a meditation. It's a preparatory practice of meditation. Without your maximum attention, without your maximum concentration, you cannot do the Trataka. Is it not? So when you do Trataka, even your mental impurity is also removed. Even when you do Kapalabhati also, many techniques, the Kapalabhati, we need attention. Without every second with the concentration only we can do. Every stroke we need concentration. Otherwise we can't do it. When you divert the brain from the illness, so what happens? The impurities can be removed. So this concept not only for kriyas, even all the yogic practices also, because we are continuously concentrating, we are gaining awareness, we are gaining control over the body, and through that we can re-establish our physiological mechanism by practicing this traditionally. Repeatedly, I'm telling you, not the modern practices. See, I am very disappointed to seeing the asanas practices in nowadays. Nowadays, happening long back also. So since we are all the professionals, we should know how to practice this asanas. That's what I elaborated asanas. So if we find time, we can elaborate the pranayamas, kriyas, and bandhas, mudras also. We should see the specifically each and every asanas, each and every pranayamas, bandhas also. What are the changes are happening? So since we are all the professionals, we should know that also. Okay. So at the end, yogic practices make the ailing individual aware of sight of impedance to the flow of energy and restores the supply of energy by own efforts as yamas, niyamas, observances. The mental attitude is very, very important. So without that, other higher practices will not give desired results. The yamas and niyamas are very, very important. So asanas, bandhas, mudras, kriyas, and meditation, also contemplation, also very important. And determine site of block of energy, and by intricate body mind intellect interactions restore the supply of energy. So you have to supply the energy throughout the body equally. And when we practice asanas, we should divert the blood circulation from the extremities to our internal organs. For example, if you take meditative asanas, the spine will be, if we are sitting in straight, the fluid, the impulses will be without disturbance, would be passed upward and downward from your CNS to autonomic nervous system to your body, to your stimulus, from stimulus to your CNS. Central nervous system. It happens in meditative asanas. When you do inverted asanas, what happens? The gravity. We are doing against the gravity. So what happens? Your circulatory system will become very easy. Even your vein circulation enhanced. Also your nervous system also, because the head is down, your CNS is down, it gets more circulation. Correct? At the same time, when you do shavasana, relaxative asanas, so your muscle are relaxed. Your muscle system is relaxed completely. And one more asana which I left it, I'm unable to remember now. Meditative asana, relaxative asana. When you do twisting cultural asanas, when whenever you're doing cultural asanas, no, you see it gives more importance for your inner organs. For example, if you give you take it the bhujangasana, what happens? It gives pressure on your lower abdomen. Not only the kidneys, you can take your pancreas, all the internal organs in your lower abdomen. We have many organs in the lower abdomen, so all will be energized by massaging those muscles. Those muscles also receive the blood circulation. When the muscles are receiving blood circulation, all the cells regenerated. When the cells are regenerated, the functions of the efficiency of the organs also enhanced. The same thing also apply for your heart also. Even our heart also made up of muscles. It also need exercise. This can be happened when you practice Matsyasana. So you are bending, the dorsal region of your spine is bent. So even the muscles of your chest region expanded. Even the heart muscles also massaged when you perform the Matsyasana. Not only Matsyasana, like that, more intensive back bending also. So what I'm trying to say, even the curative asana is also very important, but the method of doing is very important. So for like, you should consider the bow and violin analogy. So I hope I have completed. I'm trying to give some knowledge about this, and I have given, I think, which is essential. You can discuss also now. Please,
we can
Sridevi,
open the we can open the session now for discussion. Any doubts?
I'll try my best.
Participants can put forward your doubts, please.
And I do not know am I reaching you or not.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My name is Sunil, madam. Which is the good mudras for diabetes?
Which is very good for mudras for diabetes.
Yeah, madam.
Sir, if you do not have any ear problem or heart problem, even if you don't have any eye problem, my suggestion is Viparita Karni Mudra. So when you do Viparita Karni, see, repeatedly I'm telling you, I'm not a doctor, and yoga is not a therapy. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and yoga is not a therapy. So therapy is blended with the yoga practices. Clear? So as per my knowledge, when you do Viparita Karni Mudra, it's a very easy. We get more blood supply to our navel region. So it will not go to your head, as well as it will not, circulation will not enhance to your lower extremities. So supply enhanced in your lower abdomen. So in that, there only we have pancreas, right? And you can do some asanas also. So wherever you get pressure in lower abdomen, like Dhanurasana, like Mandukasana, like Shalabhasana, you can select some asanas. Not only the particular technique, you should have to do, you should follow some sequence of practice.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in pranayama, you have told the pulmonary pressure, right? That is pleural pressure or alveolar pressure, ma'am? Pleural pressure, right?
Pleural pressure. Even alveolar pressure also happens when you do inhalation phase.
Okay, ma'am. So in the Kevala Kumbhaka, it's the voluntary respiration center is activated or non-voluntary respiration center is activated, ma'am?
I'm not getting you.
In actually in Kevala Kumbhaka, the voluntary respiration center is activated or non-voluntary involuntary respiration.
Involuntary respiration center is activated. I think it's rhythmic, no? It's rhythmic when you do. Actually in Kevala Kumbhaka, you are doing after the inhalation phase, and you can do after the exhalation phase. In where you are doing, then definitely it is activating your involuntary.
Okay, ma'am. And in Kapalabhati, so whenever I am exhaling, so automatically my intrapleural pressure will be reduced. So at that time, how it will cleanse, ma'am? Can you please explain that one? That one only.
So, repeat the question. Repeat the question.
So in the Kapalabhati, So when we are exhaling, automatically the intrapleural pressure will be decreased. Active decrease in the intrapleural pressure. Okay, so what exactly it is happening, how it is cleansing
So why are you comparing with Kapalabhati and intrapleural pulmonic pressure? See, Kapalabhati is different practice. See, the concept according, if you consider Hatyoka Pratipika, it is, the analogy is I'm unable to remember that blacksmith. What it says means the passive, you have to do the inhalation and exhalation like blacksmith, which means it is not said you have to do only the exhalation, but you have to give more effort on your exhalation like blacksmith. What happens, he never sucks the air, it happens automatically, but you have to put pressure effort to exhale. So that is the concept of blacksmith. When you exhale, you may not get the pressure. Why you have to get this? The concept is a purification practice only. This Kapalabhati is not pranayama. It's a purification process.
Okay, ma'am. How it is purified? That,
but it facilitates pranayama to do well. Yeah, tell me, ma'am. Tell me, ma'am.
No, in Kapalabhati, how the toxins are removed, how it is.
You are continuously doing exhalation, right? You are doing continuously exhalation. What happens is the carbon dioxide removed from the alveoli, even the residual volume reduced completely, even from the blood also it reduced. After the completion, it progresses through your blood also. From your blood also impurities removed. The maximum eliminations, 70% of elimination happens through our lungs only. That concept you should learn.
But
so whenever you get oxygenation, whenever the exchange of gases happens, so carbon dioxide must be removed from the body. So this is also purification only, no?
Okay, no, I'm just asking in terms of understanding. So automatically the pH level of the blood will be because only the passive inhalation is happening. So obviously the oxygen what we are inhaling might be less. So automatically the blood, what oxygen to the brain may be less.
Yes. This I'll come to the point. So I'll try my best. What happened? No, even Hatyoka Pratipika says kriyas only for those who need to practice. Even some yogic practitioners, the scholars, they don't consider the kriyas. They don't do kriyas. So they'll do, even Hatyoka Pratipika also it is mentioned. So some scholars, some experts, they don't consider the kriyas, they don't give importance for kriyas, and also it is not necessary you have to do regularly kriyas. Now I'm telling all the kriyas, not only Kapalabhati. And you are going to do Kapalabhati maximum 3 minutes. You should not do it maximum. So if you are well expert in practice of Kapalabhati, you have to do maximum duration is 3 minutes only. Do not go beyond that level. Don't go 1000 strokes and all. In the beginning, you start with only 20 strokes. So relaxation is very, very important. When you do 20 strokes, within 20 seconds or 30 seconds, you'll finish. Another 1 or 2 minutes, you are going to you're going to do the proper breathing, normal breathing. So you get more vacant place. You're going to do normal breathing. After that, you have to start the another practices, another round of practices. Like that, you should, by the regular practice, you have to gradually increase the strokes. Like that, you can do it for 360 in this normal life. And repeatedly I'm telling you, we are not yogis. We are not living in a forest. We are not following exactly the yogic concepts. And we are all modern people. We are all living a normal life, and the same concept also applies for the pranayama proportion also. So here you have to do only maximum 3 minutes, which means per minute 120 strokes. Per minute 120 strokes means per second 2 strokes. Like that, you can do 360 strokes only. Beyond that level, you should not try. After that, after one series of practice finish, you should relax for 5 minutes, normal breathing. So again, you can, that also maximum 3 rounds you can practice. This one, and we are not doing. You're not going to do 1 hour Kapalabhati. You are going to practice maximum 10 minutes, even if you are practicing 3 rounds. Clear? So you can compromise after followed by relaxation. The same concepts apply for all the practices. Yeah, we are not maintain the asanas, chakrasana throughout the day. We are going to maintain 30 seconds. Again, we are going to come back to the normal position. It's a concept. So don't think you're not gaining oxygen. The next through the next breathing, you get more oxygen. You gain because your lungs is very vacant. It has more space to suck oxygen to get air, and you can get more oxygen. The efficiency of lungs enhanced. It's a good to practice Kapalabhati before pranayama. And even the asanas, before practicing asanas also, please, because in some practice of asanas, we are doing some tradition, they follow breathing practice, some tradition, they don't follow the breathing practices in asanas. Then also some breathing happens, happens automatically. For that, it is good to purify your lungs. So before asanas also, do some 30-40 strokes of Kapalabhati, relax, then start the asanas. Yes, ma'am. Am I there?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because some of the question related to this next question has came. That's what I'm saying actually.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ma'am, next, actually, one more person has asked related to next question to on me. So can't we do Kumbhaka in between Kapalabhati practices, ma'am? So
yeah, should not. Why are you connecting pranayama and Kapalabhati?
No, one question has came, ma'am. I just read out.
No. Both are different.
Okay, ma'am. My another question is, so while doing the asanas, you have mentioned the postural muscles and the fascic muscles, right? Always postural muscles are dominating. So how to overcome that imbalances? Can you please explain?
But that's what we are doing counteraction, no? Counter postures. So otherwise, you have to come to the normal position. Otherwise, some tradition they do counter posture again. But traditionally, it is not said you have to do opposite practice of the counter postures. No book says that we have to practice forward bending, back bending, and all. So now we are as per our as we included Surya Namaskar as a yoga practices, as we included Sukshma Vyayama as a yoga practices, that the modern traditions they included counter pose practices also, but no traditional practices suggesting that we have to do counter postures. But you can relax, come to all the asanas, you have to come to normal position, then only you can go for next position, no? And repeatedly, we are not maintaining for throughout the day. So 1 minute or 30 seconds, again you are coming to normal position, going for the another position. You have to deal with the meditative asanas. If you are asking the same question, in the meditative asana, only we have 3 or 4 meditative asanas. In that asanas also, we are maintaining broad base. Broad base because to sit for a long time. For that purpose only meditative asana. That will not come to this category. If you consider Machendra, he is a yogi. We are not living that life. So I said no, Machendra practiced in Machendra posture. He is yogi. He could wait. You could stay for that time also. Even suggest some. If you consider Maha Mudra, Maha Veda practices and the Hatha Yoga Pradipika particularly says you have to practice both sides equal frequency. Both sides equal frequency. If it is self-complementary practices, like Parivrtta Trikonasana, Vakrasana, Atha Machendrasana, if you are practicing, means you have to practice in both sides with the same frequency and same duration.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Actually, what I understood was in the same asana using the postural and fascic muscles. I was asking.
No, it's your voice is breaking.
Actually, what I misunderstood was you was telling that the fascic muscle should be used in the counter pose, right? What I understood was in the same asana,
no.
how we can manage in the same pose.
No, in the same asana we cannot complement. Actually, we have to come to the normal position. Particular, for example, if you are taking Paschimottanasana asana, means your anterior, posterior stitching happens. The anterior muscles are contracted, right? Am I right?
Okay, ma'am. So okay. I thought in the like thighs and okay, the anterior and posterior actions I was thinking, the muscle actions. The same asana. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other questions, please?
Anything?
Okay, ma'am. We have come to the end of the session. We thank you so very much on behalf of Faculty of Yoga Sciences and Therapy, Meenakshi Academy of Higher Education and Research, for having given wonderful session and the physiological benefits of each and every practice of yoga, and for answering the questions from the participants. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, and my humble salutation to Dr. Ilangavan sir to giving me this opportunity. Also, my sincere thanks to all the participants who all participated, and also thank you to Sri Devi ma'am who coordinated. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Can I sign up?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.